here
Commissioner Jones.
by telephone.
Gotcha. Also in attendance is County Manager Vaughn and County Attorney Taylor.
Thank you, Amy. Vice Chair Hopkins, would you lead us in the pledge of allegiance?
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. I salute the flag of the state of New Mexico as the symbol of perfect friendship among united cultures.
Thank you, Vice Chair Hopkins. We got a pretty full gallery. I see a lot of folks here. We're going to get to some of them in the public comments, and we'll go on. Is there a motion to approve the agenda?
Mr. Chair, I move to approve the agenda.
I second it, Mr. Chairman.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Jones. I have a motion and a second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Approval of minutes, the regular meeting of December 16th. You have them in your packet. Is there any comment or discussion? Hearing none, is there a motion to approve the regular meeting minutes of December 16th, 2025?
Mr. Chair,
Mr. Chairman, I move approval of the minutes.
a second.
Moved and seconded, all in favor say aye.
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 Aye. That motion passes. Do we have public comment?
None.
No public comment? Anybody who wishes to say anything, now's your chance. Okay. Ray Pierce, you have an introduction. Would you like to come to the podium and do that, please, sir?
Good morning, Commissioners, County Manager, Commissioner Jones. Look forward to meeting you in the future. I'm Ray Pierce with USDA Wildlife Services. Main purpose here today is I want to introduce our new supervisor for Southern New Mexico, Mr. David Carrasco. Is this where you want like what we're doing type stuff, or you want to wait till reports for that?
No, we just owe you.
Okay. So right now in the county, as far as I'm the county specialist, Commissioner Jones, currently working 7 cooperative properties. We got about 4 urban projects going on. The other big thing is we actually just received a decent amount of money for the new rural screwworm stuff. So we'll be doing a lot of surveying and sampling for that. That's of course a big concern of ours. Right now it's about 200 miles from the Texas border down to Mexico. We're kind of expecting to see that progress here this spring as temperatures rise. The big thing for us is of course, it affects all warm-blooded mammals, humans, that kind of stuff. So we'll be that money that we got will be helping do surveys in wildlife that we come across. So one of our concerns is birds, of course, because they can travel. And we'll have the migrating birds coming up and down the valley here. So we'll be looking at that pretty close, and of course on livestock, if that's what we're already planning on doing. The other big thing is African swine, fever. We're kind of monitoring that issue. It's hopefully still a couple years out before we really got to deal with that, but that's going to be a big deal when it hits. So that's another one we're hitting hard on top of our predation work and our urban skunk work and all that kind of stuff going on. Other than that, of course, we're still keeping an eye on wolf stuff as normal. We've had some activity up in Socorro County. This is the time of year where it starts hitting hard. Elk calves are getting big enough, or what's left of elk calves anyway, they're getting big enough to fend for themselves, and we got baby calves, beef calves hitting the ground, and they seem to kind of be the target this time of year. So something we're watching pretty close. Commissioner Paxton, I'll be in touch with you as always, for stuff that comes across my desk on that. And then we'll be working with the Sheriff's Department as needed to help get deputies trained up on the investigations as we look at that stuff. Other than that, let David say a few words.
Good morning, Commissioner. My name is David Carrasco. I'm the new district supervisor that replaced Mr. Rudy Fajardo. I'll be in Los Cruces' office, and I'll be riding around with the guys in the field, in the counties. Look forward to working with you guys. When I get my business cards, I'll Yes, sir, that's what we're here to help.
Thank you for coming today.
Thank you.
With that, there's not any questions, I guess we're done.
Thank you, we appreciate it.
Thank you. We'll move on to item 4, the consent agenda. We could probably do these 2 items, A and B, in one motion. Is there a motion?
Mr. Chair, I move to approve consent agenda A and B.
Is there a second? I will second.
Excuse me, Mr. Chairman, I second that.
Okay, thank you, Commissioner Jones. All in favor, say aye.
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 That motion passes. We'll go to presentations and reports. Manager Vaughn, you have years of service awards.
Thank you, Chair and Commissioners. We have quite a few today, including a retirement. So I will start off in the road department with 1 year of service, Stephen Smith. Looks like he's not in attendance, but Billy is here.
Thank you.
Next, we'll move on to the Sheriff's Department, with 3 years of service, Karen Thompson.
Hey, Karen.
Next in the Sheriff's Department is Robert Montoya with 2 years of service.
Where he's at.
Okay, and also with 2 years of service in the Sheriff's Department, Deputy Tyler. Look, there you go, thank you. You're welcome. And the last one in the Sheriff's Department with 1 year of service is Joffy Blomqvist. Thank you, sir, appreciate it.
Thank you, Josh.
Okay, next we're moving on to detention. The first one with 1 year service is Jose Hernandez. And next one in detention, which we missed last month, we apologize, is Patrick Flores, our detention administrator. Okay, our final one is our retirement, and this is from the detention, is Miss Virginia Lee. I just like to say we have appreciated everything she's done in the years that she has been here. She has helped keep our detention running as well as done a lot of grants. Kept that going, like this tour to her. That's all I have. Thank you so much.
That's it. We'll start with department reports. I see Billy back there in the back. Come on up, Billy, and tell us about roads.
Good morning, Mr. Chair, Commissioner, Commander Vaughn. It's been a pretty busy month. Been trying to get a lot of this normal blading done. This wet weather's been nice helping us out with all the dust and compaction. We have one of our blades is down right now. We're hoping to get it back up, by next week. So, I had that blade hand out, was helping with the road crew. We're cleaning up Miranda, from all the floods this summer. It's been pretty tough to get into and some big concrete chunks that we had to deal with, so it's been a pretty good challenge, but the guys got most of it done last week and they're finishing up this week, so we're just taking all that concrete, put it below the, low water crossings that did survive through the floods, and just to try and back them up and get them to hold in there for the next flood. Got a couple of guys out right now due to illness and injury. Hopefully injury will be back shortly, and the illness, he's needing some prayers, so. Anything else, I'll stand for any questions.
Questions?
Thank you, Billy.
Thanks, Billy.
Thank you.
Brian Williams, Emergency Management.
Morning, Chairman, Commissioners, Manager Vaughn. I recently attended legislative conference in Santa Fe for the Fire and Emergency Affiliate, Emergency Manager Affiliate. We got a lot of things in the pipeline this year. One of them just to help with our EMS personnel to kind of get them on the para-retirement plan. A lot of them aren't associated with the firefighters, so statewide we're trying to make sure that they're covered under these para plans. Right now, a lot of them are independent and either covered by a private agency, health insurance, or corporate. So we're trying to get them on board as soon as they are first responders and do a lot of legwork out there. There's a lot in the pipeline, but one of the main things that's going to affect us here all across the state is the decrease in federal funding coming from FEMA to state Department of Homeland Security Emergency Management, and then trickles down to the local level. Significant decrease in funds. Everything from grants, operating funds. A big one is disaster relief. FEMA's wanting to completely cut out any type of executive orders for disaster assistance for winter storms. Our disaster declaration threshold, which the Sierra County is about $59,000 right now. So just for everyone aware, we have to expend $59,000 of resources, personnel time before we can declare a disaster with the state. FEMA has increased that times 4. So instead of $1.89 per person per capita, we're times 4. So we're now looking at about $220,000+ before we can declare a disaster. That's statewide, so that's a significant impact for all of us. It's going to put a lot of responsibility on the locals. The states kind of got their hands tied with stuff, so we're trying to adapting and adjusting with what's going to happen in the future with our disasters. It's going to be a game changer, and not in a positive way. So, the state's there to support, but they're not going to have the resources, the funding to send them our way when we need them at most. So, a lot of the responsibility has been tossed down to the local emergency management level. So, we're meeting within the association, trying to, seek solutions and move forward from there. But it's a big decrease. It's not a fun piece of information that we have to digest there. Let's see, Poverty Creek Fire Station is complete, the addition. The only thing we're waiting on now is the concrete apron that'll go on the exterior of the building for the entrance to the bays. It looks really good. Great spot. Actually, Forest Service just utilized it for 3 days in a row this weekend because they did some prescribed burns up there on Highway 59, and it accommodated all their resources quite well. So it's nice for the station. We have room for apparatus. It's really great because our partnership with Forest Service, they can utilize the facility too. Let's see, just got an email this morning, the final draft of our hazard mitigation plan, which is countywide, which incorporates the county and municipalities, just final draft for review. I'll start going through that and make sure there's any revisions or changes, and then it goes to FEMA for approval, and then we will be good countywide with municipalities for a hazard mitigation plan. Once FEMA approves that, then we're current for the next 5 years, and everyone's eligible for federal funding and other projects that they want to work with. We expanded the risk pretty significantly this year to include cybersecurity and a lot of other risks that were being associated with it. Let's see, Title III funds. We haven't received them yet, but they've been approved. Title III funds were what helped us perform the Kingston and Poverty Creek Fuels Reduction Project. So they were kind of held up for a little while because there wasn't approval at the state and federal levels, and now that things have been reconciled, we'll be getting those funding. So we're teeing up the phase 2 of Kingston and Poverty Creek Fuels Reduction, which is going to be a good thing because Kingston's flash bits burnt, they're ready to fill it up again, and we just want to keep that culture alive up there. Let's see, Emery Pass, they're installing solar panels up there now. The radio equipment's going in the shelter. That should be complete here within the next week or 2, and then we'll be live for the Emery Pass electronic site. The last piece to that puzzle is Doña Ana is going to transfer ownership of the Caballo Peak shelter that puzzle once that's complete and our communications upgrade is, we're looking good, so we appreciate it. I'll stand for any questions.
I was just curious, how much snow did they get up around Emery Pass?
You know, I don't know on Emery, I didn't get official count up there, it was snowing immediately before, it kind of stalled some of the work, we were supposed to have it done last week. I didn't get good official counts on Emery Pass. I know they got it a little heavier in Emery Pass area than they did up in Poverty, because Poverty was pretty intermittent, this thing, which allowed them to burn, it was more of a rain than it was a snow. Just the cold temps, but the pictures I got from the team from the field report, there was snow up at Emery, so they're having a good time, digging holes, putting the, mounting brackets into the slope, so.
Thank you.
Ryan, you've done some really good work and it's much appreciated. Communications are so important for our emergency services. And now that we've got that, Emery Pass going into place and ownership of the Cavile Mountain Shelter, we're moving right along. Appreciate your work.
No, anytime. I'm excited for it to go live because those frequencies will have county fire, EMS, and sheriff's department on it, so it's gonna be a drastic increase in our coverage. We appreciate the support from everyone.
That's great.
Thank you.
Let's go with Keith. I know we're gonna hear from you on a boat vacation, but tell us what else is going on.
So we've had a steady flow of requests for address verifications for mostly post office, some utilities, the electric requests verification, and some driver's licenses with DMV. We did get, over the last month or so, 4 new address applications for new structures. 3 of them are pending additional information before I can complete them. The other one is already done, I was complete. Also adding new construction, which has definitely slowed recently, but new construction in Tier C and L and Butte. And then I'm also finalizing with the city. We had 3 or 4 areas of concern with addressing, and the first phase of those letters went out about 3 months ago, and so we're finalizing those address corrections. And then the rest of it is the road vacation that will be coming up shortly.
Questions or comments, Commissioners? Thank you, Keith.
Thank you.
Patrick, for detention.
Chairman, Commissioners, Manager Vaughn. We had some issues at the detention center with our phone system. We were out of service and I just got an email, we're back online, so we're good to go there. Detention center, it's picked up a little bit, our numbers are 56 total. Luna, we're still looking pretty good at a total of 44 at Luna County. And Sheriff Baker and I, our partnership in extradition detention center will take all in-state extraditions. And this is gonna save the county some money in the future. My staff has adapted to the task very easily and no issues. And with that, I stand for any questions.
Hearing none, thanks, Patrick. We appreciate what you've done in detention, the direction you're leading the troops. It's a good job.
Yes, sir, thank you.
Ernie.
You'll have to excuse my voice a little bit this morning, it's coming back finally. We've just been doing routine maintenance. We've had a few heater issues at detention, we got straightened out. We had one this morning at the Albertine Lions, we got that figured out right away. Just been working on the outside of the buildings, knocking cobwebs off, stuff like that, just trying to get everything up. Fixing to start the ball field, working down there. We got some clay bricks that'll be coming in, putting around the bases, making them all stiffer for the kids. They've already started practice, so I turn the lights on for them 3 times a week, so that's about it. Unless time for any questions?
Questions or comments? Thank you, Ernie. Thank you.
Thank you.
Is there anybody else out there I've forgotten? Andy, you got something for us? Come on. Ms. Treasurer.
Hello, how's everybody this morning?
Good.
Good. We will be sending out our delinquent notices. We try to make them cheery so people don't get so upset. But they will go out next week, just so you know. And we don't get as many bad phone calls. Otherwise, we will forward them to you.
But your collections are doing very well.
Our collections are doing very well, and that was my next one, is we are at 65% already. So, yeah, so we should be back in the high 90s by the end of this tax season, and we're still working, a lot of addressing. We're still working to try to find people who have moved, who forget about us, forget they have properties, or whatever, and so we'll be working those through this process in February, so, okay, any questions?
Questions?
Thank you, Ken.
Thank you, Kenny.
Thank you.
Amber, we'll go to you for a manager's report.
Thank you, Chair and Commissioners. I have a couple items. The first one is they will be hosting a Middle Rio Grande Economic Development Association meeting at the legislative reception on January 29th from 6 to 9 p.m. up in Santa Fe at La Posada. So if anybody's able to attend, that is going on. I'd also like to congratulate staff. We did receive another RAP award, which is our risk awareness program, which is put on by New Mexico counties. We were presented with this, you can see on the back wall, a bunch of years. We got one for 2025. We've had 8 years in the program. We have reduced our multi-line claims by 33% and auto claims by 100% and law enforcement claims by 100%. So thank you, staff, for participating in the program and being safe. Thank you so much.
That's great.
That is all I have. Is there any questions?
Do you have any commissioner reports? Vice Chair Hopkins or?
No, I'm just curious on the update on any of the progress of the fairgrounds.
At this point, there is 2 remaining items on the inside of the building. One is the countertop is being replaced because it's not quite the right size, the right material, so they're replacing that. And we received the communication from the manufacturer on the exhaust hood over the stove yesterday, and they are working on finishing that up. And those are the 2 items inside the building, and right now they're moving on to the drainage improvements on the outside.
But we're able to use it.
Yes, we are able to use it at this point.
And any updates on the Winston speeding area zone?
Yes, I've been working on with Billy. He's got some quotes. We're putting together a budget adjustment so that we can move forward with those speeding signs.
Good. Thank you. Hearing no reports from the commissioners, we did have legislative session last week. And I went to a nuclear energy. They're now talking about super small little generating stations that they have fission instead of fusion. So there's no nuclear waste that has to be taken away and stored, and they are very small units, about the size of a dumpster. And they can go down to communities as small as 10,000. And these will become available about 2030 for use in communities and rural situations. They're gonna focus on some tribal energy things first in New Mexico. It's the way of the future. Can you imagine having nuclear power right here in River City? It might be something that we contemplate in the future. So really an interesting session. And of course, we were there for the legislative meeting, and lots of things happening in a short 30-day session. So we'll see how that all works out. Sheriff, I didn't call you up. You've got a report on your annual presentation. Are you ready?
Yes, sir.
Come on.
All right, give me just a second. I gotta sign into my computer.
Okay.
starting on this, I'll give a regular report real quick.
Okay.
So, I also attended the legislative conference this last week. It was pretty fast, sat on the New Mexico County's board. That was an experience. I sent out an email to all the elected officials. We have another meeting on the 7th of February. That's gonna be a legislative focus meeting. I should get updates as far as what's moving along and what's tracking in the legislature. And then as soon as I get that, I'll send that out to all the elected officials to try to keep everybody in the loop. If there's anything directly affecting any of our departments, I'll make sure everybody's aware of it. There wasn't a whole lot because we didn't know at the time what all was gonna get a message from the governor and being a 30-day session. The only things besides budget have to have a message, so we're still kinda in the waiting. There's quite a few law enforcement bills that are getting a message because that's priority of the governor. We just don't know how they're gonna move through each individual house at this time, so we're still tracking those. Outside of that, I wanna thank Ryan for the work that he does on that hazard mitigation plan. Not many people understand that affects all of us, all of our departments in our grant funding, our federal grant funding. It's a lot of hard work. Several years back, I looked at that whenever we were out of compliance, and it was quite a bit, and I wanna thank him for his work on that and on the radio project. That's gonna be great for us as Sheriff's Department. I also wanna talk for a minute about the partnership with Patrick and I. He kinda made it sound like that was something easy. That's something I've been working on for years, and he and I've been working to put together for several months now that came to fruition, and I wanna thank him for his work in that. We put a really good plan together. Manager Vaughn was critical in that as well, and it's come together really seamless, and it's gonna save the county thousands of dollars. Instead of the two of us doing transports and passing each other on the highway, we've got that consolidated and working really well, and both sides are working really well on that, so I wanna thank you for that. Currently at the Sheriff's Office, we're working through, spending through our LAPF funding and getting the equipment we need and scheduling trainings for our deputies. We've gotten all of our mandatory training for the NMPPS Academy sent in. They are way backlogged, so we're waiting on them to catch up with the system, but we're fully in compliance with all of that. And I'll send in my affidavits of training and firearms reporting so that we're eligible for our law enforcement protection slots next year. We do have one opening. We had 8 applicants, so we've already scheduled the testing for that starting this week. So we hope to have that filled in the coming weeks as quick as we can get interviews and backgrounds and things like that done. So with that, I'll stand for any questions on any of the regular stuff, and then we can get into the end of the year stuff.
Mighty good work, Sheriff, thank you.
Yes, sir. Thank you. So, as y'all know, I like to do this at the end of every year so everybody knows kind of what we have going on and how things are tracking in Sierra County. So this is, since I took office in 2023, I've been collecting these stats. I know that's really small, but I'll break down a little bit more in detail the meaning. I just want to show that we've been collecting since 2023, and each year I've been able to expand the data that I'm tracking. I have to track all this right now by hand, so I have to pull all this data and compile it myself. It's extremely time consuming, but I feel it's very important for how we deploy our resources and how we approach what's going on in our community. Here's your 2025 stats. Some important ones to look at was our calls for service were 5,396. We conducted 4,024 traffic stops. We had 546 criminal offense incident reports, 273 arrests, 37 DWI arrests. We issued 740 traffic citations. We took 64 crash reports. Investigations took on 92 cases. 7 of those cases were assist other agency cases. They were responsible for 21 search warrants, and our criminal investigations were responsible for 60 of our yearly arrests. And the big number to watch there is at the very end, we only had 2 cyber tips. That's our internet crimes against children cases. So we had quite a few in 2023 or 2024, and in 2025 we reduced that quite a bit. I'll get into that on the next slide. So our activity variation, we had 230 fewer calls for service from 2025 to 2024, so we had a reduction in calls for service, but we had an increase of 322 traffic stops. Oddly enough, our offense incident
incident reports stayed almost identical. We had one more offense incident report in 25 than we did in 24. Moving to the next one, we had 36 fewer crash reports in 25 than we did in 24. We issued 218 more traffic citations. We had an average of 1 citation for every 5.4 traffic stops. In 24, we had a 6.7 average, and we wanted to get that down around 5. The deputies did a great job of that, and it seems to be working. We also had 37 DWI arrests, so we went up by 9 DWI arrests in 25 over 24. So we had 27 more arrests in 25 than we did in 24. 9 of those were DWI. We had 15 more investigations arrests in 25 than we did in 24. So in short, all of our self-initiated activity went up, and our calls for service, crashes on the roadways, and reactive stuff went down. So I don't have enough of a data set yet to say they directly correlate, because I've only got 3 years of data, but it definitely seems to be trending that direction. In investigations, we had 18 fewer investigations. Search warrants decreased by 51. That's largely in part to at the end of 23, we had the Hackett homicide case that resulted in a whole bunch of search warrants, electronic communication devices, and other things that really drove our numbers up in 24. That happened at the end of 23, and the investigation was ongoing through 24. We had 15 fewer cyber tip crimes, so that's a really good number that we want to keep. What we don't know is, since the federal attention, Homeland Security runs a lot of those and sends us the investigations on that. We don't know if it's because we're not getting the tips, or if it's because we have an actual reduction. We'll have to wait another year or two to find out for sure. So, in 2025, we experienced an overall decrease in calls for service and traffic complaints, while we increased self-initiated activity, such as traffic stops and proactive investigations. Arrests, traffic stops, DWI arrests, and investigation arrests all went up, while calls for service, traffic complaints, and crashes significantly decreased. A larger data set will be necessary to fully evaluate if one is truly impacting the other, but common sense kind of says that it does.
Sorry.
Not to call you out or anything.
Sorry.
You're fine. This patrol coverage, geofence data, this comes from our body cam system. I track this monthly, my supervisors track this. We have certain goals that we want to hit in our outlying areas for patrol coverage, and trying to find that balance of where we get the biggest bang for our buck with the personnel that we have. As you can see, I've been tracking that since 2023. Now, I will let everybody know that these numbers are a little skewed. You'll see that they're decreasing year over year. That's because in 2023, the system was still pretty new to us, and we had deputies who went home and didn't log out. So while they were sitting in their house on days off, until their battery ran down on their phone, it was sitting there logging hours. Year over year, we worked to get the deputies to turn it off, even though we're not perfect. They sometimes still forget. We are getting much closer to a true data set. And if you can look in 2025 in Elephant View, we had 1,755 hours. We do have a couple of deputies who live there, so some of those hours are a little bit higher than what true patrol coverage was. Williamsburg, those were pretty close to accurate numbers. We didn't have any deputies residing there for most of 2025. Hillsborough, those are very accurate numbers. Raid, I have several deputies who live down there. Again, that number is a little bit higher than what's true patrol coverage, but it's going to be relatively close. If you'll see Cochillo, Winston, and Kingston, those are all true data set numbers because nobody's living out there. So we did have a goal set in Cochillo to be over 100 hours based on the 47 we had the year prior. We hit that mark and then some, as well as we went up. Kingston I added this year just so I could make sure the deputies were actually getting up there and being seen. They did a really good job. Our numbers all went up in the areas we wanted to and decreased in the areas that we wanted them to decrease in, so it's working out really well. We're going to continue to monitor that as we move forward. So on the next slide, some of the positives, we achieved our increases in outbound patrol coverage areas. We had a much more balanced patrol coverage between outlying communities and the more populated communities. improved our efficiency of patrol coverage throughout the county. The negatives or the data points are still slightly skewed due to the body camera logouts, and the patrol balance will take a couple more years of data to fine tune, and it's gonna be constantly evolving based on what's happening in each part of the county at different times. But we are getting a good data set on which months are more busy in which parts of the county, if that makes sense. Next, you have the call location data. This is broken down by the month, and since I contract with Elephant Butte and Williamsburg, I break this down just so we can see kind of where the majority of our calls are coming and look for those influxes by the month on which months get busier where. And as you can see, the outer line parts of the county still remain our highest call volume areas, with the Elephant Butte then being the next busiest. Obviously, March through about August, September are our busiest months, with May through July being the busiest of them all, year over year. That's just the data set we're tracking to try to improve our efficiency and our coverages. Our immediate response team, so in 2025, the Sierra County Immediate Response Team, that's our tactical team, responded to 6 tactical callouts within Sierra County. That's actually down from most years. That's a good number for us. We usually average around 10 to 12. 2 of those callouts were incidents where shots were fired at the IRT members. All the callouts involved armed or potentially armed suspects with felony charges. The immediate response team was requested and responded 3 times to Socorro County at the request of New Mexico State Police to assist them with armed barricaded subjects to take our equipment and go help them. And every call out resulted in the successful apprehension of the suspect with no significant injuries to the suspect or law enforcement. So that's a trend we definitely want to continue moving into 2026. Next is our animal control. I know we just recently added this position. Cass Dickey is our animal control code enforcement officer. She's done an amazing job. I put these numbers up there so the commission could see kind of the problem that we do have. In 2025, she trapped or captured 66 dogs, 25 cats, 7 snakes. She actually crawled under a house and went and got them. I think she's crazy, but she did it. Those were rattlesnakes, by the way.
She is correct.
She got 3 skunks, 1 raccoon, and 1 fox. So she's been extremely busy. Most of those dogs came out of the Caballo Array area. She's been actively targeting those feral dogs down there, and the pack's up and running, and she's making it dance slowly but surely. And she's been able to get several mamas with her puppies, so hopefully that'll slow the growth in those areas. But she's done an outstanding job. Some highlights from 2025. Deputy Madden had a seizure of half a pound of fentanyl, estimated to be 2,500 to 3,000 fentanyl pills, and half a pound of methamphetamine. That was all in one bust. The next one, Deputy Madden also had a seizure of 81.8 pounds of cocaine. That was one of the biggest ones in the state last year. Outstanding job. This is our evidence room. We're kind of proud of this. Whenever we first moved over, if you look at the picture on the left, the room was pretty much filled from top to bottom, all the way around the room. And due to Under Sheriff Trejo and Connie Hayes, our evidence technician, have been working consistently in there for the last couple of years, getting destruction orders, organizing and cleaning up that evidence room. And you can see the picture on the right. And some of that, 2 shelves of that evidence in the picture on the right is actually marked for destruction, but was waiting on orders. Most people don't understand how time consuming and how much work goes into getting a destruction order. But those cases have to be researched, the judgment and sentence and the disposition of the case has to be researched, the paperwork has to be gathered, and then it has to be taken to the district attorney's office. They have to sign off on it, and then it goes to district court, and the district court judge has to sign off on it before we can destroy it. So she's been working really hard in there and done an amazing job, and we're nearing getting close to doing a full evidence room audit, which will bring us on par with our accreditation standards we're trying to meet. So, some other highlights. We had the apprehension of 6 suspects related to the homicide of Charles Hackett, maintaining a 100% solvability rate for homicides in Sierra County. That's the ones worked by the county. We dismantled and had the apprehension and prosecution of a large-scale burglary ring, resulting in the recovery of hundreds of thousands of dollars in stolen property. Everything from vehicles to trailers to tractors to side-by-sides, motorcycles were involved in this. Thousands of tools. The deputies did an amazing job on that. And then coincidentally, we started 2025 off with the same thing in the newspaper. So, we did a complete update and overhaul the Sheriff's Office Policy and Procedure Manual through the LexPulse system. That's again trying to bring us on par with the accreditation standards through New Mexico counties. We were one of the first entities to get that done and implemented completely, and we are on par with that. Moving into 2026, some of our goals is to attain the overall approval and transfer of older reports to digital records and destruction of hard copies. When I took office, we had 78 boxes of old reports, some of which went back all the way to the early 90s and late 1980s. We went through every one of those boxes by hand and pulled every report and digitally scanned anything that may be required for us to maintain. We have that in the Terralogic system, and then here pretty quick I'll be before the commission to transfer the official record to the digital record, and then we'll be ready to move on with destruction and work with Manager Vaughn on that. So that was quite the time-consuming process, but we finally got through it in 2025. We want to continue working towards HIDA designation, that's high intensity drug trafficking area designation, and other grants to combat drug trafficking in Sierra County. That was a goal of mine whenever I ran for office and after taking office, and I'm still pursuing that, though it is an uphill battle getting a HIDA designation. It quite literally takes an act of Congress for that designation, so we're working towards that. We're still working to obtain New Mexico County's accreditation. We hope within the next several months to be on board once we get our audit of our evidence room and things taken care of. Complete evidence room audit and move to an automated system. We have all the equipment in, and we're getting geared up to make that transition over the next month or two. Continue building the equipment and training infrastructure within the Sheriff's Office. Continued analysis of all the data points to improve our service areas to our citizens, and continue advancements in the use of technology to improve our efficiency and capabilities. We currently have a grant in for the Peregrine system. That's a data sharing and analytical system that will link us with New Mexico State Police, Albuquerque, Las Cruces, and all the other major law enforcement agencies in data sharing, but it will also do in-house analytics, so I'll no longer have to collect all these by hand, and the system will do that for me.
Saving a lot of time.
We're also working on some other report writing stuff, utilizing AI to assist in a secure network to improve our efficiency and time consuming in report writing. And that's pretty much the end of my presentation. I'll stand for any questions if anybody has any.
Questions? Commissioner Jones, any questions?
None for me, thank you.
You bet. Sheriff, I really appreciate what you've done, and you've made some tremendous strides, and we know where the insurance situation is, and I'm glad you're on the New Mexico County's board, because there's one other sheriff on the board.
We now have 3.
Three. I think that's great representation, but you also have afforded your deputies the ability to train that's outside of their standard job description and look towards the future, haven't you?
Yes, sir. We've implemented a very progressive training program. So essentially, everybody at the Sheriff's Office is trained for the position above them. So the captain's taking the leadership and management trainings to do my job, the sergeants to do his job, the patrolman to do the sergeant's job. So hopefully, we'll be building that leadership and quality law enforcement well into the future.
That's great. That's very, very forward-looking of you to do that, and we appreciate your efforts. We look at our law enforcement situation sheet, you see some things that are going around the country, and Attorney Pato told me that we don't have any law enforcement claims in Sierra County to deal with right now. So with your coverage and your arrests and the things that you've done, I think that is really progress that should be made. Thank you, Sheriff.
Yes, sir. I would also like to point out that detention is also lumped into the law enforcement pool. So So whenever they say law enforcement doesn't have any claims, I'm very proud of my office, but I'm also very proud of Patrick and his crew. They're included in that, so kudos to him as well.
Thank you for the presentation today.
Yes, sir, thank you.
Sierra County Earth Day and Community Cleanup, is that you, John?
Yes, it is. Thank you. Thank you, Chair and Commissioners. So I've been working with Commissioner Jones on putting together a Sierra County Earth Day community cleanup for April of this year. Earth Day is on the 22nd. We haven't exactly picked the day because that's a Wednesday. That might not be the most effective day, so we're going to look at that. So what this is going to be is we're going to partner with the local municipalities, our road department, and some local contractors to set up a cleanup day. The goal is to have dumpsters in a bunch of the communities. Right now we have Array, Hillsborough, Winston, Searcy, Williamsburg, and Elephant Butte. And we're going to provide dumpsters at sites so that residents can get rid of their household trash, no hazardous, but all the stuff they can get rid of. So I've been working on that, and I will hand it over to Commissioner Jones to add anything, but the estimated budget for this is gonna be about $10,000. That would just be county funds, that could possibly be donations also from others.
Mr. Jones, do you have anything to add?
Well, I want to thank Amber for coming up with a nice little plan, and we've gone out and talked to a few different groups throughout the county, and I think the important thing that I wanted to stress is almost everybody does a cleanup. I know Elephant View does, the city of Searcy, Williamsburg, all of those entities do a cleanup day. But this was really kind of in response of, our meeting a while back where we had some areas that had trash. Mr. Chairman, I think you even reminded us of some trash up by Mud Canyon Dam. Those areas where they just become part of the landscape. We've seen these areas a lot. So our goal is to try to go countywide, pick up those areas and clean it up one time. We probably won't get it all, but it might be fun for everybody to work together. There's some nonprofit groups that do this all the time, some recycling groups. I think if we coordinate this properly, I think it will have an impact on the community and maybe something that kind of helps people come together at a common cause. So with that, I want to thank Amber and all those people that want to do it. I also want to, lastly, is that, I've had some communications with some contractors, some of the guys that work with us and other places, and we're certainly going to put a crew out there. But I wanted, I asked the guys, I said, hey, look, give us a crew for a day or 2 days. That doesn't have to be much, just give us a truck and a loader and do it for the community, and I have not had one person say no. So I thought that was pretty neat. And with that, I know time's of the essence, so I'll be quiet and stand for any questions, but Amber's certainly on top of it.
Mr. Jones, I thank you for bringing that to the frontal area of our thinking and coordinating with Amber to make that happen. That's good work. Thank you. We do not have a Forest Service representative here today to talk about prescribed fire and the seasonal outlook. We'll maybe put them on next month's agenda. And Brian, if you would coordinate with them to see if we can get somebody, that would be appreciated. We'll move on to item 6, the Board of Finance and the December reconciliation. Is there any discussion or questions? Is there a motion?
Mr. Chair, I move to approve the December reconciliation.
Mr. Chair, I second that.
Moved and seconded. All in favor say aye.
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 Aye, that motion passes. We have no old business listed. We have, under new business, item A, county road closure request for New Mexico Spaceport. Is Manager Vaughn? Go ahead.
Thank you, Chair and Commissioners. So in your packet, you have a request to close a county road from New Mexico Spaceport. This is going to close Upham Road between Lewis Road and Spaceport Boulevard for 2 hours on the following days, February 2nd, February 6th, and February 10th. There is an alternate route that they've identified on 25. And with that, I'll stand for any questions or concerns. I believe that Ryan and the sheriff may have looked at this already, and there doesn't seem to be any issue.
All right, it's pretty straightforward. This is just a standard deal, and sheriff has deputies assigned, and we'll go forward and see what we need to do. Is there a motion to approve?
Mr. Chair, I move to approve.
Okay, that motion is for the county road closure request for 3 dates for Spaceport Authority. Is there a second?
Mr. Chairman, I'll just second that.
Motion is second, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Aye.
That motion passes. Item B is petition for road vacation, Trout Road. Keith, you're gonna talk to us on that? Come on up. It's been a long time coming, hasn't it?
Yes. I believe I was first asked about this a little over a year ago by one of the residents. And what ended up coming out of this is not only the 2 at the end of the road, but now 8 properties owned by 7 different residents there on Trout Road have all joined together to request the road closure of Trout Road, vacating the southern end of Trout Road, basically from the intersection of Bass Road, from there south to Winder Road. They have not done a survey as to how they would divide the road up. They wanted to have the freeholders review this first, and make their recommendation, and their request would be potentially pending a survey to finalize it if it does get approved in a future meeting. So right now, we're just looking to approve the appointment of freeholders. We do have John Diamond, Bo Marshall, Bruce Swingle as the main 3 members, with an alternate being Ronnie Chavez.
Well, it's pretty straightforward. I know that the residents understand that once it's vacated, the county will not maintain under any circumstances, and that's their choice. We'll let the freeholders take a look at it. They do understand that there will need to be a survey.
Yes, they know there's a survey that would be required, as well as an easement, not only for their own access, but for any emergency personnel.
And I did read where emergency access will have a key code.
Yes.
Okay. Any questions, gentlemen?
No.
Is there a motion to appoint freeholders for the review of the proposed road closure or vacation?
So moved, Mr. Chairman.
Okay.
Second.
Moved and seconded. All in favor say aye.
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 Motion passes. We'll go to contracts. Thank you, Keith. Contracts, agreements, and procurement. Item A is fiscal agreement between Sierra County and the Hillsborough Community Library. Manager Vaughn.
Thank you, Chair and Commissioners. In your packet is a fiscal agent agreement with the Hillsborough Community Library. This request is for commissioner approval for us to be the fiscal agent for the library. They have a grant that's around $5,000. This item will not require the county to provide any additional funding. It's very similar to a lot of our other fiscal agent agreements that we have. So it's very simple, but we will maintain the money for them so they can purchase books and other items for the library.
The 5% fiscal agent fee, that can be done with in-kind services.
Yes, sir.
Okay, that's good. Any questions, gentlemen? Is there a motion?
Mr. Chair, I move to approve the fiscal agent agreement between Sierra County and the Hillsborough Community Library.
Second.
Moved and seconded. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Aye, that motion passes. MOU between Catherine County, Sierra County, Socorro County, and Torrance County. Implementation of Senate Bill 3 funding for Region 7. Manager Vaughn, Attorney.
Mr. Chairman, members of the board, thank you. So this memorandum establishes a framework for Catherine, Sierra, Socorro, and Torrance counties to implement and jointly plan for the Senate Bill 3 behavioral health funding for Region 7. So Region 7 essentially just reflects what our judicial district is. and that's gonna be consistent with the Behavioral Health Reform and Investment Act. Each district is required to identify a lead agency and fiscal agent responsible for the district's obligations under SB 3. So Aurora County has generously offered to take the lead on that, and they'll be responsible for that regional coordination, grant applications, contracting, financial management, and reporting to state entities. And the MOA makes clear that neither Socorro County nor any of the participating counties bear financial responsibility beyond the awarded SB 3 funds. And I stand for any questions the board might have.
Any questions, gentlemen? If not, is there a motion to approve?
Mr. Chair, I move to approve the MOU between Captain Sierra and Coral Torrance regarding the information of SB 3 funding for Region 7.
Is there a second?
Second.
Moved and seconded, all in favor say aye.
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 That motion is approved. We'll go to item D, item C. Thank you. Purchase of a 2027 Rosenbauer South Dakota 4x4 engine for Hillsborough Volunteer Fire Department. Good morning, Laura.
Good morning, Chair, Commissioners, Manager Vaughn, for the record, Barbara Bencomo, Chief Procurement Officer. Yes, so this item relates to the Hillsborough Volunteer Fire Department, recently awarded a $599,000 grant from New Mexico Fire Protection Fund. And it's to purchase a new fire apparatus, that would be a new engine pumper. The total cost of the new truck is $598,931. The vendor is Artesia Fire Equipment and Company. The new engine pumper will help improve ISO ratings and provide a new model apparatus for that station. So for that, I will stand for any questions, and of course, I will defer any detailed questions to our Emergency Services Administrator, Brian Morris.
Fire engines are sure expensive, but it's good to see them upgrade, and it will eventually mean lower insurance rates for their residents in the district, so that's a good thing. Do you have anything to add, Mr. Williams?
No, that one was cheaper. We got a pretty good coupon on that one, so.
Yeah.
There's actually a promotional on that one. They're actually now if you look at the tariffs and metal increase and all that, they're actually about $1 million right now. If you're looking to get an aerial, we're looking at $2 million, but we don't get an aerial.
Thank goodness.
Yeah, so it'll just help out. Barbara did a fantastic job explaining that, so if y'all have additional questions on here.
Any questions or comments, gentlemen? Is there a motion to approve?
I'll move approval, Mr. Chairman.
I second.
Moved and seconded, all in favor say aye.
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 That motion is approved. Along with that is a request for approval for the purchase of a new engine for the Las Palomas Volunteer Fire Department. And Barbara or Ryan?
Yes, Commissioners, the Las Palomas Volunteer Fire Department received a $600,000 grant from New Mexico Fire Protection Fund Grant Committee to purchase a new fire apparatus. This will be a custom pumper. The total cost of the truck is actually $759,878. The delta will be covered by the Las Palomas Fire Department capital outlay budget. And similarly, this new pumper will help improve the ISO ratings for this community and provide a newer model fire apparatus for the station.
Questions? Well, it's another good purchase, and it served well. Any motion to approve?
Mr. Chair, I move to approve.
Chairman, I'll second it.
Moved and seconded, all in favor say aye.
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 Aye. That motion is approved. Thank you all. We'll go to item 10, resolutions, ordinances, and proclamations. Resolution 2026-03, budget amendment, Manager Vaughn.
Thank you, Chair. I'll hand this over to our Finance Director, Jessica Pena.
Good morning, Jessica.
Good morning, Commissioners. Manager Vaughn's first resolution is a really short one. I'm requesting to amend the budget by $65,000 to increase the SCRTA Fund 634 to cover the purchase of a domain server. All of the lines on the budget adjustment to increase the revenue and expenditures are related to that $65,000 transfer.
Any questions? Is there a motion?
Mr. Chair, I move to approve resolution number 2026-03, the budget amendment.
And is there a second?
Yes, Mr. Chairman, I second.
Moved and seconded, all in favor say aye.
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 Aye, that motion passes. Resolution 26-04, appointment of chairperson, vice chairperson. How would you guys like to handle this? We can do nominations, or it's a requirement for the new year, is it not? Manager Pinto?
Mr. Chairman, members of the board, while it's not a statutory requirement for the new year, we do ordinarily consider the appointment of chair and vice chair as part of organizational resolutions. So yes, we do handle this on an organizational meeting.
Is there a motion for a chair?
Mr. Chair, I just move to, put you in as chair like we've been, and me as vice chair, if that's okay with everyone.
Would that be seconded, Mr. Jones?
Sounds like you got the vote, so I'd be a fool not to, huh? Yes, I second that.
Okay, moved and seconded, so, all in favor say aye.
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 That motion passes. Now, these other things are our annual meeting requirements, is that correct?
Yes, sir, and I'll get you through them as fast as I possibly
Go
can.
right ahead.
So do you want to make the call on the agenda, and then I'll go ahead and explain each one?
Okay, we are to item C, the resolution 2026-05 for the Open Meetings Act.
Yes, sir. Mr. Chairman, members of the board, this is the annual open meetings resolution this board considers. The Open Meetings Act requires 72 hours notice for any public meeting, unless it's an emergency meeting, in which case we can provide lesser notice. This notice defines what's required as it relates to notice for the year. It makes clear that our meetings will be held at the Sierra County Administration Building at 10 a.m. on the third Thursday of the month, or the third Tuesday of the month. I apologize for that. And it also permits for participation by means of conference telephone. And I stand for any questions of the board.
Any questions, comments? Is there a motion?
Mr. Chair, I move to approve resolution 2026-05, Open Meeting Act.
Mr. Chairman, I have one quick question before I second that. Is that
Okay,
okay?
go ahead.
So, I couldn't hear Mr. Pinto very well, but, we didn't change our notice of meetings. It's still advertised in the paper, same 72-hour notices before. We didn't make any changes on that?
That is correct.
No
Mr.
changes,
Jones.
Commissioner Jones.
And I brought my microphone closer, so hopefully you can hear me a little bit
Yeah,
better.
now we can hear you, Dave. So, no changes from the past and no deviation from state law.
All right, we'll second that.
Moved and seconded, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Right.
Aye, that motion passes. Resolution 2026-06, request for inspection of Public Records Act.
Mr. Chairman, members of the board, just like the Open Meetings Act, this board is required to consider a resolution designating custodian and setting forth the process for making inspection and responding to inspection of Public Records Act requests. This resolution designates the county manager or designee as the records custodian. It sets forth the process for submitting public records requests and the procedures for inspection. It also sets forth the inspection fees, and I stand for the question of the board.
Questions or comments, gentlemen? Hearing none, is there a motion?
Mr. Chair, I move approve resolution 2026-06. Resolution describing procedures for requests for inspection of public record.
I'll second it.
Moved and seconded, all in favor say aye.
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 That motion passes. Item E is resolution 2026-07, County Manager Authority. Mr. Pinto.
Mr. Chairman, members of the board, this board is statutorily authorized to employ and set the salary of the county manager to conduct the business of the county. This resolution sets forth the scope of that authority. This authority delegates to the manager the authority to enter into contracts, to procure items of tangible personal property, services, and construction, for $60,000 or less, which is consistent with the small purchase thresholds in the procurement code. It also vests in the manager the authority to enter into legal settlement agreements and take deductibles the amount of $50,000 or less. The $50,000 mark it relates to our deductible with the New Mexico County Insurance Authority. And I stand for any questions of the board.
Questions or comments? Is there a motion?
Dave,
Go ahead.
could you go over those purchasing thresholds one more time? I apologize, I couldn't hear them.
Absolutely. So the authority to enter into contracts to procure items intended for personal property, services, and construction is capped at $60,000, which is consistent with the small purchase threshold in the procurement code. And the authority to enter into legal settlement agreements and pay deductibles is capped at $50,000, and that $50,000 is what our deductible is with the New Mexico County Insurance Authority.
Okay. Any questions, Commissioner Jones?
No.
Is there a motion?
Mr. Chair, I move to approve resolution 2026-07, County Manager Authority.
I'll second that.
Moved and seconded. All in favor say aye.
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 That motion passes. Resolution 2026-08, parliamentary procedures and Robert's Rules of Order.
Mr. Chairman, members of the board, so again, this is one of our traditional organizational resolutions. This resolution adopts Robert's Rules as a guide to parliamentary authority, except as modified by the resolution. I wanted to cover just a few of those modifications. Number one, the chair may make motions and has the same voting rights, no less and no more than any other members of the board. That's because they're independently elected. The second one that I wanted to cover is that any member of the board can request that any matter be placed on the agenda for consideration by this board. There are several other modifications, but those are the two that I wanted to highlight for today's meeting.
Questions or comments? Is there a motion?
Mr. Chair, I move to approve resolution, let's see which one.
08.
I'm sorry, 08.
08, parliamentary procedure and Robert's Rule of Orders.
There's a motion. Do we have a second?
Second.
Seconded. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Mr. Jones?
Yes, I said aye.
Oh, didn't hear you, sorry. That motion is approved. We'll go to 2026-09, public participation in commission meetings.
Mr. Chairman, members of the board, this board has a longstanding practice of offering the public 3 minutes for public comment at the beginning of the meetings to speak to any matter they would like to speak to. This resolution recognizes that and makes plain that we cannot impose viewpoint restrictions and that we have to impose only time, place, and manner restrictions. And it identifies that to promote orderly meetings so that attendees feel safe, that we will not tolerate threatening or abusive comments that disrupt the meeting, defamatory comments or comments that result in liability to the county, and all speakers must address the Board of County Commissioners and speak from the podium. And I stand for any questions of the board.
Questions or comments?
Mr. Chair, I move to approve resolution 2026-09, public participation in Sierra County Commission meetings.
There's a motion. Do I have a second?
I'll second it, Mr. Chairman.
Moved and seconded. All in favor say aye.
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 That motion passes. Resolution 2026-10, establishing depositories.
Mr. Chairman, members of the board, this resolution establishes depositories for Sierra County funds, which will be located in Sierra County. Those depositories are Citizens Bank located in Sierra County, First Savings located in Sierra County, and the New Mexico State Treasurer, the LGIP, in conformance with the requirements of New Mexico statutes. And I stand for any questions of the board.
Questions or comments?
Mr. Chair, I move to approve.
Second.
Moved and seconded. All in favor say aye.
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 We'll go to, that motion passes. Item I is resolution 2026-11, signature authority on checks. Attorney Payton.
Mr. Chairman, members of the board, this resolution establishes who has the authority to sign on county checks. It requires 2 signatures, and it identifies specifically who in the county can sign up those checks. And I stand for information to the board.
And it's standard as we have been, and really no changes other than a few personnel.
That's correct, and also we've added Commissioner Jones as District 2.
Correct,
For
sure.
authorized
Yes.
individuals, yes.
All right. Any other questions or comments? If not, is there a motion?
Mr. Chair, I move to approve resolution 2026-11, signature authority on checks.
Mr. Chairman, can that be forwarded to my company? My wife won't let me sign my checks at home. Could we add that to this resolution?
We encourage your participation to sign checks.
I second it.
We'll give you an opportunity. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
That motion is passed. Resolution 26-12, establishing license tax under the Liquor Control Act. Attorney Payton.
Mr. Chairman, members of the board, the board is statutorily authorized to impose an annual non-prohibitive license tax for those liquor license holders in the county up to $250. This ordinance does just that. It imposes the $250 fee that we're allowed to charge annually for liquor license holders in the county.
Any questions or comments?
Mr. Chair, I move to approve resolution 2026-12, establishing a license tax under the Liquor Control Act.
Mr. Chairman, this is a new tax.
Mr. Chairman, Commissioner Jones, it's statutorily, we've been authorized to impose this tax since 1994. I know that in years past, we've done it some years and not others, and I can't speak to why. So when I identified that it was not included within the list of previous resolutions from last year, I added it back in. So for your consideration, it's completely within the board's discretion whether or not to impose the $250 tax that's permitted by statute.
So it's a new tax.
It's not really new.
No, it's been used in the past, but not consistently.
Mr. Chairman, Commissioner Jones, I might defer to the county clerk to identify how often we've imposed this in the past and what your experience has been.
We have been charging it every year, at the first of every year. Some pay it, some don't, but we do send out the letters and try to collect it. We've been doing it for probably 4 or 5 years now.
So Mr. Chairman, my question is, so some people pay it, some people don't?
Everyone has charged it, but, some people just choose not to pay it, but we still send a letter every year to try to collect it.
And is there any reason why we don't force the collection?
I don't have an answer for that one. I don't know how.
Mr. Chairman, provided we're notified, we're happy to reach out to the licensee, and if they fail to make payment, then we can report that to the alcohol and gaming department as well, which may ultimately impact our license.
So would the enforcement come through the alcohol and gaming?
I think it would be done in conjunction with the county, yes.
Does that answer your question, Mr. Jones?
Well, the tax payment comes directly to the county, correct? Or does it go to RLD?
It comes directly to the county. That's right. That $250 comes directly to the county.
Right. So just, not to belabor it, but my position is that if we're enacting a tax, part of the people aren't paying it, part of them are, and we're not foreclosing on the tax, then I would be against having the tax at all. If we're gonna have that, I don't think it's fair to penalize the people who wanna be lawful and let the other guys skirt the law. So that would be my opinion. If we don't have the appetite to collect it, then I don't think we ought to enact the tax.
Dave, how would you recommend that we collect it from everyone?
So I think that's a fair point by Commissioner Jones, and I think that you have to make a decision. If you want us to enforce it, so we'd have to create a process by which the county clerk advises when the tax is not collected by the date set, and then we can then start that process for collection. I mean, So we can either do that or not, you can elect not to impose the tax. Again, it's a nominal amount. I don't know how many licensees we have in the county. I don't know how much we're possibly collecting on this, but
We do not have a lot. I would have to go back and look to see, but, and I also don't have a lot that don't pay it. It's rare, but I don't know off the top of my head, but I can check to see where we stand.
And Mr. Chairman, I'll note that I don't believe this is a significant revenue source for the county, and it shouldn't affect operations if you elected not to adopt it, but you can also adopt it with the direction that we seek compensation for those individuals that have failed to pay.
So, Mr. Jones, go ahead.
Yeah, it doesn't sound like it's a big collection. I don't know that it makes any difference in the county budget, so I guess at this point in time, if it's not a big deal and we're not really forcing anybody to collect, I would just soon just not have the tax. It doesn't sound like it makes a difference in anybody's life here, other than being a auditing issue, so.
Well, I don't think it's just a tax, it's a license prerogative of the county for those who can sell liquor in the county outside of the established municipalities. I see some advantage in having licensing and then having the sheriff and the liquor control board and gaming folks do their inspections. I think the license is more important than the tax, but the tax goes along with it, and it is in state law. So I would counter that perhaps we need to follow up with those who do not pay, and if they lose their license, then they cannot sell liquor.
Mr. Chairman, I wholeheartedly agree, and I am absolutely in favor of we'll call it a tax or a license as a tracking system, but like so many other things, we just seem not to, we let the bad guys get away, and if we're not gonna enforce it, then why penalize the guys that are trying to be legal? That's my only issue. And so.
Could we make a resolve that we will pursue those who default on payment of the tax in an appropriate manner, and the clerk can notify us, and we'll carry that through the sheriff and whatever needs we need to do to get compliance?
And is this would this be an annual resolution or just or this, does this sunset?
It
and
does
renew
not sunset.
every year, or is this just?
This is an annual resolution, Commissioner Jones.
It is an annual resolution, Commissioner Jones. So we can have a report card next year to see how we did, but I would like to keep the license, but let's cause some action for those that are reticent in paying the appropriate fee.
No, I agree with Commissioner Jones. I think everyone needs to pay it, and if everybody does it, we need to go about collecting it from all constituents.
Let me ask you this, could that be amended to say that anyone who hasn't paid within the last year gets their license revoked?
Mr. Chairman, Commissioner Jones, I don't believe we have the authority to revoke licenses, but we can report that to the Alcohol and Gaming Division, and they can examine that for revocation. What we can do is seek enforcement of our resolution and impose that license fee. So that's what we would do.
So, I don't like taxes and user fees when they're not done, and I won't belabor it, but I would support this under one condition. When are these licenses due, the license fees due?
So it's due July 1st, 2026.
Did you hear that? July 1st, 2026.
So, I could support this if by July 30, anyone that we take whatever steps necessary to either throttle the business or collect it, and then we can take a look at it next year, but, so I'm gonna tell you, I reluctantly support this.
Would that be a motion with the amendment?
I won't make the motion, I'll second it. Yeah, I'll do that, I'll move it with that amendment.
Okay, those that are in default will get notified and will carry through to enforcement of the tax.
Mr. Chairman?
And could we add in there that the clerk will give us a report in our August meeting?
Yes.
Perfect.
Mr. Chairman, I was gonna ask.
So moved. Sure.
Comment, Mr. Painter?
I apologize. Mr. Chairman, members of the board, I'd appreciate a list maybe on July 2nd for those who have not yet submitted. And then we can go ahead and get a follow-up correspondence out to them. And that way, when we report back to the board at that July meeting, we can then identify who's paid, who is not, and what those next steps are with respect to those who have not.
That's a good idea. Mr. Jones'
Yeah,
amendment
that makes sense.
was for the August meeting. Would you?
Yes.
That, because it won't be 30 days past due for the July meeting. So the
Right.
August
No,
meeting.
I don't think
I agree, I concur.
Mr. Chairman, I was gonna say, it doesn't need to be 30 days past due. They have until July 1st, 2026 to make that payment. So,
Okay.
I think come July 2nd, we can send out those subsequent letters saying we have not received your payment, that we will take further action if we don't, let them know what that is. And then that way we can report that out to the board in the July meeting.
Okay.
I second.
So we got a motion and a second. And the motion is, acceptance of keeping the tax. And if they do not pay by July 1st, the clerk will give us a list of those who don't pay for the July meeting. That would be July 21st. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion passes. Final resolution is 2026-13, resolution supplementing resolution 109057, confirming Sierra County's acceptance of maintenance responsibility for New Mexico 436 in connection with the Spaceport Road A 013 exchange. Manager Vaughn.
Thank you, Chair and Commissioners. So as you guys have been aware, we've been working on the transfer of Spaceport Road A013 to the state. Well, I think since I got here, so it's been about 3.5 years. So this is the final piece to get that completed. What this will do is we are taking responsibility of 0.52 miles on New Mexico 436, and this way it'll make the swap even, or close to even, for A013.
And that's the Monticello Road, is it not?
Yes, no.
What road is that, Billy?
It's a county line road down in Garfield already.
Oh, the Garfield area, okay. All right. Any questions?
We will have a meeting in February, it's usually about the middle of the month, to approve the actual transfer.
Okay. Any questions or comments? Is there a motion?
A big question, Mr. Chairman.
Go ahead, Mr. Jones.
What is has there been any, existing condition reports to these roads, or just what we, do we know if we made any projection on the maintenance requirements on, what is it, 436, is that what it was?
Yes, it is.
What does that look, Billy?
He's coming up. We know there are lots of problems on the Upham Road, the A013, and that was one of the reasons we wanted to get it to the state so that they could have a lot more flexibility in what DOT does. So go ahead.
Yeah, that road's in pretty good shape now, so we're probably looking at about 5 to 6 years for a re-chip. And the other roads that, they were repaved 2 years ago, 142 out to Monticello. So Rock Canyon Road, we did the other day, last year, and there's about a mile of that we'll have to re-chip, probably in the next 2 years. So other than that, that mile of road will probably be the first thing that comes up on Rock Canyon Road out at, exit 82 or 89.
So the maintenance responsibilities are
I could get that come, next meeting, I could probably get you an answer on that.
Well, we certainly didn't spend any money keeping the other road up, that's for sure.
Yeah, I spent about $100,000 in the last 3 years out there on AO 13.
Yeah, we've done a lot of patching and grading.
The, well, possibly.
Yeah, it's demonstrated, so we've had a crew of road grader out there a bunch.
On the Spaceport Road?
Yeah, it's got drainage problems all up and down it. Billy, you can tell where your 100,000's been spent.
Yeah, mostly around the Yost Bridge. It was backfilled with a whole bunch of muddy silt, so we had to cut that out. We cut it out about 8 foot deep, probably 400 feet long, and there's about that much more to do. That's one of the reasons it's failing so bad. But we've done a lot of work right there around Yost. That's where most of the money was spent on hot mix and excavation and riprap.
Did you hear Billy? Mr. Jones?
Yeah, I heard him. I guess, you know, we've, that road gets traveled quite a bit, and I suspect there's a couple of us that have been on that road since the inception of it, and, you know, we've just complained about cattle guards ever since we've been out there, and we've never fixed them, and it's a little discouraging, so, when we wanna take on more roads, although I understand it's a trade, but that road's been kind of a thorn in my side for some time, so.
I understand. You can help lead the charge for DOT to get it fixed.
Well, let's be clear, the cattle guards have been a problem for 10 years. And I've asked the county in the past, we've tried to get mad about it, we've tried to embarrass them, and, you know, nobody fixes those cattle guards, and it's hard on the vehicles, and there's probably a couple of us that run a lot of vehicles over them, and I guess, I hope that whatever we take over, we take better care of than what we have on that, because that's been a county road for some time. I'm surprised nobody has been hurt on that road. So, anyway, I'll let you, we'll go on with it. I'm done.
Okay, comments are noted. Is there a motion to approve resolution 2026-13 regarding the acceptance of maintenance for 436 in connection with the Spaceport Road Exchange?
So moved.
There's a motion, is there a second?
And I'm gonna second it.
Okay, motion is second, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
And I'm gonna say no.
There's 2 ayes and a nay. That
Correct.
motion passes.
And Mr. Chairman, can I just explain that? One of the reasons that I'm not liking that exchange is, I know one of the major ICIPs that we're asking for is to build another dang road out to Spaceport. And that divide well road, and it just doesn't make sense to me to get rid of one and then take on another one that's, in my view, not a better route. So, that's why I just wanna make sure everybody understands why I voted no on that exchange.
And I think that's appropriate. We'll address the Divide Well Road when we perhaps get financing, but we've also been talking to state DOT on the Divide Well Road. It does offer an alternative from going to Eagle, and I think that's an item for another day, Mr. Jones.
It is, and we'll have a lively debate over that one, Mr. Chairman.
Yes, sir.
Thank you.
Yes, sir. Thank you. We've concluded our business with resolutions, ordinances, and proclamations. Is there a motion to go into executive session? Going by state law, section 10 through 15, E through H, pending and threatened litigation, Justin versus Sierra County. So moved. There's a motion. Do I have a second?
I'll be able to attend it, so I will second.
Okay, roll call vote, Madam Clerk?
Commissioner Paxton?
Yes.
Commissioner Hopkins?
Yes.
Commissioner Jones?
Yes.
We are in executive session. Thank you all for attending. session, is there a motion to come out of executive session? Is there a second?
Yes, second, Mr. Chairman.
Moved and second. There is no action taken and no direction to staff. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Oh, that takes a
Aye.
roll call.
That just,
Roll call.
Commissioner Paxson?
Yes.
Commissioner Hopkins?
Yes.
Commissioner Jones?
Yes.
We have no further business. Is there a motion to adjourn?
Mr. Chairman, I move to adjourn and thank you all for accommodating me over the phone.
Well, I'm glad you could make it, Sandy. We are adjourned.